Former White House spokesperson under President George W. Bush and vice president of Bose Public Affairs Group, and Nomiki Konst, former Bernie Sanders surrogate and DNC reform commissioner. Good to have both of you here. And Pete, we pick it back up now. Obviously, Musk and Ramaswamy are from big tech. That's an industry that's long depended on talent from overseas, bringing in the best and the brightest. It's probably not a surprise that they feel the way they do, but it is interesting to see them come up against the MAGA faithful on this.
Well, it is the nature of political coalitions that folks rally around the big message, the big argument of a campaign, and kind of suppress some of the detailed disagreements that they might have. And now you have one of those bubbling to the surface. And I got to say, I love this. I love a good, passionate, substantive policy debate where both the proponents and the opponents are making good arguments. Elon Musk is right. If we want America to win in this global economy, in this global environment, then we need to attract the best and the brightest. They're not always here just because this is America. They're not necessarily born here. Vivek Ramaswamy makes a good point that we have erred on the side of mediocrity over meritocracy over the years. Look at education and athletics in the workplace, where we've moved the bar to make things easier, far too easy at times, rather than going for full-on success. And the opponents are making a good point, too, that the H-1B visa program is anti-competitive and it is exploitative of workers who are stuck in jobs, cannot negotiate higher salaries and wages, and it needs some reform. So this is a great debate to be having.
So if this could be that substantive, solid policy debate that you're hoping it would be, Pete, Nomi, could this be an area, right, where we could actually see Democrats come to the table? Could there be an actual substantive debate between both sides of the aisle here moving forward to look at a program that maybe could use a little bit of reform?
Yes, that would happen if Donald Trump hadn't built his entire brand, the MAGA brand, off of being anti-immigrant. He could have gone another path and said, you know, America is great because we thrive off of our immigrant population who, when you look at regions across the country, the areas with more immigrants correlate with more innovation, more economic growth. When it's restricted, there's less R&D. Tech companies aren't as successful. There's less growth and wages slow. So we know that immigrants are a key ingredient to the United States exceptionalism. And Elon Musk himself, a recipient of the H-1B visa, knows very well. The problem is it goes against the entire brand Donald Trump built his political campaigns on, which was anti-immigrant. It's their fault that you're not making money. And so when MAGA hears that these two want to expand the H-1B visa program, they hear, we Americans are not good enough. You want to go find other people because we're not good enough. But the real issue here is as was mentioned by Pete, is there's actually a backlog in the green card process right now. And the pipeline with the green cards is slowing down the H-1B visa program. So even though 100% of, this is from the Cato Institute, 100% of the recipients of H-1B visas are receiving market rate or more wages, they're staying in those jobs because we don't have enough visas available and they're not moving into green card programs. So there's some institutional stuff that needs to be dealt with as well.
And so, Nomi, how, like you're talking about the technical part of it, how do you think then, if Musk convinces Trump that this is what needs to be done, how do they appropriately message that to so many people who voted for them on, as you note, an anti-immigration platform?
I mean, that is going to be very difficult. You have to re-educate a large swath of their base into understanding that we actually are a pretty inclusive society and that immigrants did build this country up. Unlike what Laura Loomer said, saying that it was white Europeans who built the United States, we know very well it was formerly enslaved people and, of course, immigrants who have built the American exceptionalism that we see and feel today. So, you know, it's going to be difficult because we have midterms coming up and there are members of Congress, especially from the MAGA right, who are going to have a difficult time messaging this pro-immigrant policy to their base that they depend on. And I think that actually fares better for Democrats. And there's a little bit of a wedge there in terms of where Democrats, yes, can negotiate, but also use it as a campaign mechanism where, you know, the base is going to be very much against this the key issue that Donald Trump built his entire brand on.
Pete, there was always going to be some divide that was going to happen at some point, right? There was going to be some division, which happens no matter how seemingly in lockstep folks are with the president-elect. Is this the start, though, of a rift?
No, I think it's the start of a healthy conversation within the Trump-built coalition. And a couple of points on what was said. Number one, Donald Trump ran against illegal immigration. He ran on securing our border and tackling the scourge of illegal immigration in this country. And one of the messaging components I would use if I were Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and others is to say the H-1B visa program is a way of preventing the offshoring of American jobs, particularly when it comes to the tech industry and our interconnected global economy. It would be very easy to have these jobs in India or Taiwan or elsewhere, but you make sure they're in America and that these individuals are paying taxes and contributing to the strength of our communities by having them come here because they are the best and the brightest. And that's why it's an important program.
And Nomi, just before we go, I'll let you have the last word. Any other thoughts on that topic?
Well, the reality is that these jobs exist in the United States, and they almost entirely exist here, the UK or Canada. So those are not the jobs that are being offshored to India. Those are more lower skilled jobs, still very important jobs that tech companies do rely on, and we wish they were here in the United States. But that is another issue that Donald Trump again ran against. Make America great again, bring jobs back to America. Why don't you invest in unions? Why don't you, if you don't think America is smart enough, why don't you fully invest in our public education system? Unfortunately, under the libertarian aspect of these tech companies and these tech leaders, they want to dismantle all of government, which is essentially what makes this country so smart and so strong. We need to invest in our people, in education. We need to open up jobs, protect our labor force so they don't go offshore, not just at the convenience of these billionaire tech workers who want to take advantage of one small program to their liking.
All right, Pete and Nomi, thank you again. Happy New Year to both of you. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.